so much. I want to thank, first and foremost, Protect Our Care for the great work they're doing all across the country. They've been on that bus for a good while yet. Laura, you told me how long you've been on the bus? 5 weeks? 5 weeks. And I saw her last in Scranton. So she's made several stops in Pennsylvania, as Protect Our Care has. And I want to thank Americans like both Steve and Laura for their witness, showing really uncommon courage to stand up and talk about their lives, their challenges, and to put it in the context of the debate about health care. We're gathered here today to talk mostly about the bill that passed in August, the Inflation Reduction Act. But when you think about it, the progress we've made, when you consider passage and not just passage and enactment, but the defense we had to put on for the Affordable Care Act to protect it from being wiped out by Republicans over the last decade. They spent a decade trying to do that. We defeated them. But now we have more work to do. We built upon the passage of the American Rescue Plan, which allowed more people to have greater protection in their health care by passing the Inflation Reduction Act. And if you think about it, it's legislation that is central to the lives of seniors in Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, we have more than 2.2 million Pennsylvania seniors who receive Medicare Part D. Without the Inflation Reduction Act, there was no prospect of those seniors being able to have lower prescription drug costs. But because of this legislation, seniors in Pennsylvania will have lower prescription drug costs. Once again, Republicans did everything they could in Washington to stop us from lowering the cost of prescription drugs for seniors on Medicare Part D. So when those reductions go into effect, every penny of those reductions in prescription drug costs will be because of efforts made by Democrats. Here's some numbers for our state that tell the story. When Steve and others have talked about the lowering the cost of insulin in terms of the monthly payment that an individual would make, lowering the cost of insulin to $35 a week for those on Medicare Part D. That was made possible because Democrats put it in the legislation and passed it into law. But once again, Republicans not only voted against that, they prevented us from having lower insulin costs for every American with insurance. So the reason we don't have that in place right now is because Republicans opposed it. But here's what it means for Pennsylvanians. Reducing the copays for insulin to $35 a month will impact 87,000 Pennsylvanians right off the bat. This bill will also reduce health care costs for Pennsylvanians across the board who get their health care through the marketplace. So lowering those marketplace premiums for 346,000 Pennsylvanians by hundreds of dollars per person on average, starting next year, 2023. Eventually, for seniors on Medicare Part D, capping out-of-pocket costs at $2,000 per year. That, right off the bat, will affect some 73,000 Pennsylvania seniors. Again, with no help from Republicans in Congress. And then ultimately, being able to have Medicare finally negotiate for lower prices. We've been trying to do this for about 20 or 25 years, but again, we had to do it with only votes from one side of the aisle. So we have more work to do to get all of this implemented, to make sure that seniors have a chance to have lower prescription drug costs. But again, we're going to have to continue to fight back against efforts by Republicans to block this. And if they're successful, all of these gains will be reversed. So that's why when we talk about Protect Our Care, we have to work to protect it, because there are pernicious forces in Washington trying to stop us from lowering prescription drug costs for seniors, trying to stop us from covering every American with health care, and trying to stop us from helping families reduce the cost of health care. So I'm grateful for the work of Protect Our Care, grateful that you're here with us today, and go Phillies.